So you are okay with us going into an election, people putting an X beside a name where they have a cloud of suspicion, every single one of us. Let's face it, Minister. I think if there were six conservatives on that list and no other liberals, we would have had the names. Let's be honest here.
Thank you, Mr. Caputo. The
No,
minister
pardon
may
me.
answer.
I think I have another minute here.
No, you don't.
No. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
The minister may answer if you wish.
Mr. Chair, again, Mr. Caputo makes something up. If there were 6 conservatives and no other political parties, of course, we would release the list. Mr. Chair, I'm not going to violate the Security of Information Act and risk prosecution for a political stunt, and I think Mr. Caputo knows better.
We go now to
Imagine calling it a political stunt to name, and you know what? It really is desperate, and I think even some members of the regime media say so. Well, in 2013, 11 years ago, Mr. Harper did 2013, 11 years ago, there were not national security warnings that half a dozen conservative MPs were on the payroll of China or Iran or who knows. It's such a, hey, well, 11 years, can I talk about that thing 11 years ago instead of your question, will I reveal the names before the next election? They're going to try and stonewall this one because I think Trudeau himself may be on the list. I think Freeland herself may be on the list. I don't know. I think it's clear that Handong and some of the other Chinese districts were utterly compromised.
Parm Baines, for sure. He was the Liberal MP who won in Kenny Chew's riding after Kenny Chew was subject to disinformation campaigns from Chinese state media and then Chinese language media in Canada. And Parm Baines has actually even amplified the Chinese lies against Kenny Chew. So that's just during the electoral process. What they're talking about now is ongoing Chinese influence into Canadian politics.
You know, and one thing that you just reported on recently is it's not just politicians who were influenced by foreign actors. It was half a dozen media companies in Canada. And my suspicion is that some of those are Chinese language media, but it wouldn't surprise me if media journalists in Canada these days are so greedy for government handouts. If you would take a government handout from Trudeau, why wouldn't you take a government handout from a foreign embassy for, cultural reporting on the friendship between our two countries? I can absolutely see it.
Yeah. I mean, the same national security report that revealed these MPs as much as they did reveal them, also found that media in Canada were compliant with Chinese pressure campaigns, like PRC pressure campaigns, and were taking funding from the PRC and publishing PRC-related op-eds without disclosing that they were given to them by the PRC. Now, that information has been out in that report since Monday. And you know who hasn't reported on it? The media.
I remember when the Globe and Mail itself would publish full-page or multi-page spreads called China Watch, which, they're very critical of China. No, it was actually
to watch them.
paid for and produced by the Chinese embassy. Now, they at least said paid for by the People's Republic of China, but the Globe and Mail had no problem running full-page ads, not ads, pardon me. They looked like news stories. China Watch, they called themselves. And let me read to you from the Criminal Code of Canada, because I want to tell you what treason means. And this is why I've always hesitated in using this word to describe Justin Trudeau or other people who I simply disagree with, or even if I hate them, I don't want to call them criminals because I want to keep that word like a knife. I don't want to dull the knife from overuse. If we actually have a criminal, I want to be able to say he's a criminal, and I want people to say, "Oh, this is serious," as opposed to just rolling their eyes.
And destroying the country because you're a domestic idiot isn't actually illegal.
Yeah. So here's a definition I'm reading from, if you can put this on the screen, Olivia, section 46.2. There's high treason. I'm going to skip that, which is trying to kill the king or start a war. That's high treason. But regular treason is 46.2. Everyone commits treason who, in Canada, uses force or violence for the purpose of overthrowing the government. Okay, that's not appropriate. It's not a fit here. B, without lawful authority, communicates or makes available to an agent of a state other than Canada military or scientific information or any sketch, plan, model, article, note, or document of a military or scientific character that he knows or ought to know may be used by that state for a purpose prejudicial to the safety of the defense of Canada. So right away, I'm thinking about the Chinese spies at that a virus lab in
Right.
Winnipeg.
Right. And the Chinese police stations.
C conspires with any person to commit high treason or do anything mentioned in paragraph A. D, forms an intention to do anything that is high treason. E, conspires with any person to do anything mentioned in paragraph B, or forms an intention to do anything mentioned in paragraph B. So what we're really talking about is paragraph B again. Let me just sum that up again. So
Yeah.
I'm getting into the weeds here. But this is treason. Without lawful authority, which means you don't have an excuse to do it, like you're not being directed to do it by the government, you make available to an agent of a state other than Canada military or scientific info. So I'm not sure if simply tipping them off about things and being in their sway is treason. But maybe we don't know what the communication is. We don't know what the quid pro quo is. But it's just astonishing to see Christopher Freeland and Dominic LeBlanc say, we're not going to tell you who these people are, because immediately they would be peppered with questions and the Liberals are covering it up.
Right. Well, and let's remember too that they're doing this with the help of the likes of the mainstream media, although some of them have come to life and started asking questions. But the mainstream media was so quick to accuse anybody who is related to the Freedom Convoy of being a foreign funded state actor. They said multiple times, they had to retract on at least 2 separate occasions, that the Freedom Convoy was some sort of Kremlin operation. But the politicians that they've been running cover for the last 8-9 years were the ones who were on the take from the foreign state actors.
You know, it's projection, the iron law of woke projection, all the things that they do, they accuse their opponents of doing. I remember when the CBC accused the truckers of being organized by Vladimir Putin. It was so laughable. But I mean, you don't even have to go beyond Trudeau's own inner circle. His brother accepting the huge check for the Trudeau Foundation from the Communist Party of China.
John McCallum.
Yeah, who basically said our policy is more. Whatever the Chinese government wants, the answer is yes. Hiring McKinsey, which basically is an international consulting firm that basically sold access to Western companies to get into China and sold to China, getting tentacles into Western companies.
Yeah.
McKinsey was basically the proxy economic foreign affairs embassy for communist China. And they were invited right to the head of the table in Canada. I know there's so many connections. Trudeau's brother, Alexandre, who was his foreign policy advisor during his leadership run, not only did he publish a book through the government of China, he produced a documentary film through the government of Iran.
Yep.
So Justin Trudeau's own brother works for both China and Iran, directly publishing propaganda for both countries. Do you doubt that Trudeau himself is in on it?